I am a fake daughter with a bad brain. On the day when the real daughter returned, my five brothers protected me behind them. Hua, can you keep her? Her brain is not very good. It's too dangerous for her to be outside alone. The real daughter sneered fiercely, a white lotus. Later, she found out that my brain was really not very good, so forget and keep her. I often feel that I am incompatible with my family because I am not perverted enough, but today I fell into the pond and hit my head. I was suddenly relieved. It turned out that we are not a family. After hitting my head, I inexplicably had a lot of memories in my mind, which were what I looked like when I grew up. I am not the real daughter of the Shen family. Even if the real daughter has been wandering outside for so many years, she is still very outstanding. I saw that I did a lot of wrong things and finally died alone in prison. I remembered the taste of prison food in a trance and suddenly realized that it was the memory of my previous life. I will be in prison in the future from now on. I will work hard to change my fate, but a fake daughter is fake. How can I change it? Whole body blood transfusion, change genes? Forget it. I can only reincarnate in the next life. If nothing unexpected happens, except for my stepmother parents, the other brothers in the former Shan family will not be willing to take me out to play because I am too stupid. I can't even reach their thighs. I am determined to study hard from now on and change my destiny with knowledge. I did it right away. I sat at the desk and wrote a test paper frantically. After checking the answers, I closed the book silently and pretended that nothing happened. Whether in the last life or this life, knowledge can change the fate of others, but I am afraid it can't change my life. That day I looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. At the age of 12, I was able to perfectly interpret the sadness of youth pain literature. It hurts. It hurts too much. After being in a daze no, thinking for 10 minutes, I came to a conclusion. If I can live again, why not enjoy it now? Lie down and beat at night looking at the bland little cabbage in front of me. I fell into deep thought again. Brother, is our family bankrupt? Shen Yi Chen, who had put down his bowl and chopsticks and was about to leave, stopped and was a little surprised. In his memory, this sister was very afraid of him since she was a child. Every time she talked to him, she was very cautious, as if he was a monster that would eat people. Over time, he was unwilling to talk to this sister. Perhaps it was too long since I talked to a creature like my sister. Shen Yi Chen rarely replied to me. No. After hearing the answer, I quickly replied, then why is there only this for dinner? While saying this, I used my big watery eyes to swing back and forth between the little cabbage and Shen Yi Chen, very obviously hinting quickly change me something delicious. Chen was unmoved and coldly conveyed the two elders' meaning. You can only eat this today. Brother, what did you eat today? Shenhai didn't expect that one day his sister would talk to him so naturally. After a slight pause, he said, I haven't eaten yet. When I heard this, my eyes lit up, and I eagerly handed the cabbage in my hand to him, looking at Shen Yi Chen expectantly. Brother, you eat it? Shen looked at the chopstick stretched to his mouth and didn't open his mouth. Even though I looked at him sincerely now, as if I was doing good for him, he knew that this sister just wanted to use him, and he didn't want to be used. I was silently rejected by Shen Wuchen. Brother, I really don't like to eat this. Instead of letting me eat cabbage, I'd rather die directly. I started to cry without a single tear, but the sound was not small. Shen Huai to his temples and scolded coldly, stop crying. What a shame, however, this reprimand for subordinates that always works did not work on me, and I even cried louder. The door was open and Shen's father strode in first. Seeing me still howling, he asked coldly, what's going on? Shen Haji answered, but I had stopped howling and answered normally. My elder brother didn't help me eat the cabbage, so I was threatening him. Shen's father sighed, said to me, be gentle when threatening, and then closed the door and left. In the end, my dinner was still only cabbage. The only difference was that Sheng Hu Qingyi Chen and I ate the same dish. The next day, I was originally going to enjoy the happiness of lying in bed, but I was forced to get up at 6 o'clock to pack up and get ready for school. After packing up, I finally got in the car with my eyes closed. I felt the car stopped in a trance, so I opened my eyes and asked, are we there yet? We're at Sheng's house. Sheng's house? I thought about it with my rusty head. Anyway, he was a man I was destined not to get, so why would I be a shitty licker? Let's go, Uncle Zhang, Dr. Beckley, and don't come here anymore. Uncle Zhang drove away without asking any more questions. I looked at the familiar and unfamiliar places around me. Today, someone would frame me, including Go Sheng-jun, and no one would stand on my side. So I started thinking again. It's so annoying. What's the point of going to school? The good time will be meaningless if it's not used for eating and sleeping. When I'm framed, I can use this as an excuse to not go to school starting tomorrow. I'm such a smart guy. When I arrived at the school gate, I saw the breakfast shop opposite and pestered Uncle Zhang for food. Uncle Zhang looked helpless. The children of the Shen family weren't ever allowed to eat outside food. He could only continue to refuse and began to talk nonsense seriously. It's not that I don't want to buy it for you. It's that uncle is useless and really can't afford it. I instantly felt the same way. Why does the fake daughter make things difficult for the working people? I'm really too much. I actually want to eat the hard-earned money of the working people. At this time, Xiang Ping happened to pass by me and accidentally heard the conversation between Uncle Zhang and me. He was shocked by the truth he discovered. The family couldn't even afford breakfast, which means my parents are poor. He couldn't wait to enter the classroom and share this big thing with the whole class. Guess what I just heard? You will never guess that Shin Yu is actually a liar. As soon as the voice fell, the classmates who were originally doing their own things all looked over. On the way here, I heard Shenko talking to his uncle. Their family couldn't even afford breakfast. His uncle even said that uncle is useless and really can't afford it. Didn't Shen Yu grow up with Go Shangjian? I always thought that even if their family could compare to Xingjing's family, they would definitely not be much worse. But the things Shen Yu usually uses are quite expensive. She can't even afford breakfast. How can she afford it? Could this be stolen? That's disgusting. Why did Shen Yu do this? Relying on stealing things to pretend to be rich. As the saying goes, three people make a tiger. At first, the so-called stealing was just an assumption, but when more people said so, it became true, especially when it was me. So when I lingered in the classroom, I found that everyone's eyes on me had changed. I didn't care and walked to my seat in the sight of everyone. Just as I was about to sit down, I found that my stool was wet. Even the originally neat desktop was now covered with graffiti and dense words. I observed carefully and felt that happiness came too suddenly. I was not sure, so I looked at the person next to me and asked, "Is this my desk?" The person next to me didn't answer me, but someone said, "That's your desk. You and your desk are a good match." Ha 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 ha. Now I understand. I was bullied in school. I never thought that this kind of thing would happen to me. Although I don't know the reason, I can go back and lie down. And I have a legitimate reason. Shenhe, don't you want to sit? How can a noble princess sit on a stool with glue? I turned a deaf ear to these sarcasms, but calmly took out the mobile phone in my bag and called Uncle Zhang. In order to make my emotions more realistic, I even pinched my thigh hard and cried out of pain. "Hey, Uncle Zhang, I don't want to go to school." The child's voice was slightly trembling. Even though I had deliberately controlled it, Uncle Zhang still heard the fragility and sadness in my words. He turned the car around and drove towards the school, soothing me softly. "Don't be afraid, I'll be there soon." After I hung up the phone, my pitiful expression disappeared. While rubbing the handwriting on the table, I thought, logically speaking, wasn't it slander that I took someone else's things today? How did the handwriting appear on the table? But for some reason, I never doubted one thing in my heart, that my final destination must be prison. My calm appearance fooled many people. Generally speaking, the bullied person must show a certain reaction to the bullying itself in order to make the bully feel happy. Now the people around me want to see my discomfort, fear, pain, and unwillingness, not my expressionless face, as if the things they did were not pleasing to me at all. For a moment, they felt that they had bullied the wrong person, and some of them couldn't help but whisper to Zhang Peng again, "So you're not mistaken, are you? Shou's not mistaken, are you? Shou really doesn't look like a poor student, and the things he usually uses are also quite expensive." Zhang Peng was a little nervous at this time, but when he thought of what he had just heard with his own ears, he convinced himself again. Anyway, as long as he could prove that my family background is worse than his, then there would be one more person who could be ordered around in the future. Thinking of this, Zhang Ping nodded affirmatively. I heard it with my own ears. Shen Yu's family has no money. Hearing Zhang Ping's confirmation again, the others also felt relieved. The current leader of the class, the dandy fan, even walked directly to my side and showed a lewd smile. Xiaohe, don't pretend to be a rich lady. As long as you promise to listen to me in the future, I will protect you. My family is more powerful than Shang Zhenyu. As long as you promise, I will help you teach those who bully you a lesson without missing a single one. The people who had just attacked my desk were a little panicked when they heard this. Li Fan acted without regard for the consequences. Many people looked at each other, then looked at Zhang Peng and had an idea. Shang Huang, don't blame us. It was Zhang Peng who came in and yelled that you were a liar. Your family couldn't even afford to eat. The things you usually use must be stolen. He also made a fuss and asked us to wait on your desk, so we took action. Everything in the classroom seemed like a farce. Some people even began to suggest that Xiangping kneel down in front of me to atone for his sins. Xiangpeng remained silent all the time, looking at the classmates in front of him. In a trance, it seemed that what was in front of me was not a group of children, but a group of demons. I had never seen this scene before, but I felt that these things were extremely familiar. I didn't have a deep impression of Zhang Ping. Seeing that Zhang Huan had been pressed in front of me and was about to kneel down, I quickly dodged and muttered, "Kneel to the sky, kneel to the earth, kneel to my parents, don't kneel to me. I don't want to be your father." Zhang Ping, who was halfway through kneeling, suddenly felt embarrassed. "Hey, Shenhe, tell me honestly, what do your parents do?" I lowered my head and thought for a while. My father doesn't have a job, and my mother dances occasionally. I said the truth. Now the family company has been fully handed over to my brother. What my father does every day is to play around with the savings he has worked hard for in the first half of his life. My mother is more chic, usually practicing dancing at home and only showing up at large national events. But when other people heard this, it became a certification of my low status, especially a girl who usually doesn't get along with me in class. She couldn't help but sneer. "Shamla, how dare you look at us?" She was jealous of my good looks and popularity. Now she had a legitimate reason, so she started to pull my hair. "Let's see what fakes the princesses who are high and mighty are wearing. They look exactly like the real ones." Zhang Ruan was getting closer and closer to me, and at this moment, the memory of studying with Lao Li's big sister suddenly appeared in my head. I grabbed the stool next to me and smashed it at Zhang Ruan, who was reaching out. Any hesitation for a second is disrespectful to big sister. Zhang Ruan was frightened by my sudden resistance and couldn't help but scream. I turned a deaf ear to him and took another look at my desk. There were two eye-catching words on it. I pointed at the two words and asked Zhang Peng, who was closest to me, "Who wrote these two?" Zhang Peng shook subconsciously when he heard my voice. Before his brain could react, his body had already moved honestly. He pointed at someone not far away and said firmly, "It was Lin Yan Xin." I looked over, wipe it clean. Lin Yan Xin looked arrogant. Why? I didn't force him. I directly lifted the table in front of me and threw it at Lin Yan Xin. Everyone around was shocked. Lin Yan Xin jumped up, a little scared, and pretended to be calm and yelled at me, "Shemha, you are crazy. You are crazy. What are you doing?" Before he finished speaking, Shang Zhenyu walked into the classroom and saw that many people had just stood up from the ground. He was a little confused, but he didn't ask. These classmates were of no use, except for me. It was something my family reminded me every day. "Class is about to start. Everyone sit back in your seats and take out your textbooks." Shang Zhenyu is the monitor of the class. He has a good family background and good grades. As soon as he started talking, almost everyone calmed down except me. I was thinking, I just started a fight, so if I'm asked about it later, won't I be innocent? If I'm not innocent, can I go home and lie down? I should be pitiful to go home and lie down. Thinking of this, I set my sights on the glue on the chair and sat down directly. Well, this is what it looks like to be bullied. Hey, why hasn't Uncle Zhang come to pick me up? The school I attend is a nationally renowned private school with top domestic and foreign teachers. Of course, the tuition is also very expensive. Students who can study here are either rich or noble. At the same time, in this school, class is also real. My status should not have fallen to this level. After all, my eldest brother is the undisputed leader in the business circle, and my third brother has completely established a foothold in the military in recent years, which has also directly raised the entire Shen family to a higher level. With the buff these two people have given to the Shen family, it is no problem for me to be a big sister in school. It's just that the Shen family's family motto is be low key in life and high key in work. So my status is wrapped tightly and no one knows except the school. Not long after, the teacher also came in. He scanned the class and paused slightly at Xiang Peng's face on my desk, but in the end he didn't say anything. He just walked to the podium with a numb expression, took out his textbook, and stood on the podium to lead everyone in reading. Suddenly, Lin Yan Xin stood up and said, "Teacher, Shen Hu threw her desk at me." Upon hearing this, the teacher, who had been indifferent, immediately ran to Lin Yan Xin and exclaimed, as if something had happened to her own son, "Is anyone hurt? The teacher was in danger just now. Shenhai attacked me without any reason." Hearing this, the teacher seemed to understand something. Without asking any questions, he immediately scolded me, "Shen Ho, I will never let you go today." Everyone immediately had an expression of watching a good show. The teachers in the school are the most realistic. They will protect students with better family backgrounds. Now that the teacher stands on Lin Yan Xin's side, it means that my family is definitely not of the level of Xiang Zhenyu. I looked at the teacher, who had no expression on his face and no scruples, and said directly, "Teacher, don't you want to ask what happens?" When the teacher heard this, he did not answer, but said to me in a very bad tone, "No need to ask. No matter what means you use, I only know that you hurt Lin Xin. You are a bad student for not to go to school here. Shen Yu, how much money does your family make a month? Don't blame me for looking down on you. Lin Xin's parents make more money a month, and your parents make more money a month, and your parents make more money a month, and your parents make more money a month than your parents. No matter what, I will teach your parents a lesson." If it wasn't me standing here, but a student from a truly ordinary family, it would be unimaginable what his life would suffer. I wanted to say something, but when I saw the figure approaching outside, I shut my mouth, so I stood there obediently, burying my head very low, looking so pitiful. "Call your parents right now and apologize to Lin Yan Xin in person. I'm Shen Yu's brother." I don't know what she did to make the teacher so angry. Shen Hu's voice came from the door. The voice was not loud, but it was full of oppression. Those undisguised snickers instantly disappeared. The teacher, who was very arrogant just now, turned around and his face froze instantly. The major shareholders and the principal of the school followed behind him. Whether they were shareholders or principals, they all had very bad expressions now. "Mr. Shen, please listen to my explanation. This teacher is new and may not understand the situation very well." The principal tried to find words to save the current situation, but he also knew that this matter today might not be easily resolved. At this time, Shen Hoqiao already walked to my side. When he saw that my hands in the chair became wet, his steps paused slightly. He squatted down, took off his suit jacket and covered me with it, and then said to the principal outside in a cold voice, "Maybe you should come over and see first before explaining." Principal Li bowed and nodded and walked to my side with a smile. When he saw the scene in front of him, the principal rolled his eyes and almost couldn't breathe. He didn't dare to look at Shenhulai alone me. He could only turn his head and yell at the teacher, who was still shocked by all the unexpected events, and said, "Don't you have eyes? Such a bad incident happened to students in your class, but you didn't punish the instigator. Instead, you got angry at the victim. Is this how you teach?" The teacher was a little panicked at this time, but he still subconsciously defended himself. "Principal, it's not like that. All the students in the class are good students. They won't bully others casually." And Lin Yan Xin was thrown on the table by Shen Chu for no reason. Chen Chen sneered and interrupted the teacher. "Do you mean that our child deserves to be bullied?" The teacher was stunned by Shen Yiqi's momentum and spoke incoherently. "No, that's not what I meant." "What does that mean?" "I just heard the teacher say that parents should reflect on it. Now I am here. What do you want me to reflect on?" Upon hearing this, the principal hurriedly said, "Mr. Shenhe, some teachers in the school are short-sighted and talk nonsense. Why do you take it seriously? Who did all this? Stand up." Of course, everyone remained silent and no one answered. If you don't say anything, everyone will be punished together. I just want to remind you that this matter cannot be solved simply. It may even affect your parents, just like you often do. Think about it yourself. The principal was also anxious. The Shen family was powerful, and there were also powerful people among the people present. Although they were not as powerful as the Shen family, he could not afford to offend them. He could only hint that my family background was not ordinary and hope that some of these kids would be enlightened. It was Zhang Peng who did it. After the first voice came out, the rest of the people seemed to have found their direction and echoed. Yes, it was Zhang Peng. Zhang Peng said early in the morning that Shen Yu was a liar and spread rumors about Shen Yu. The principal's eyes were slightly stern, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, these brats were not stupid. It seemed that this Xiang Ping was the scapegoat they chose for this incident. Shang Peng, right? Call your parents immediately. But Shang Huochen had said lightly more than that. The principal froze and turned his head to look at Shen Yichen. Mr. Shen, why don't you give our school some time? We will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. Shen Yichen ignored the principal, but just put his hand on my shoulder, patted me gently as if to comfort me, and said bluntly, after observing your actions just now, I suddenly understood why this school is like this. It is also the Shen family's negligence that sent you to such a place. At this time, Shen Wuchen noticed that my clothes were torn by the super glue. He couldn't tell my expression and just gave an order to the assistant beside him, convene a board meeting within today, replace the principal, and expel all unethical and irresponsible teachers. All losses caused by this will be borne by the Shen family. Stop cooperating with all companies related to the students in this class and send a message to their parents before the real murderer is found. The Shen family will do its best to suppress them. At this time, I stood beside Shen thinking that my eldest brother was so reliable and powerful, and I was afraid that my beating would be discovered. If I was discovered, I would not be able to use fear to avoid going to school. God, please protect me. Shen Luqi-chan looked at me, who seemed a little scared, and whispered, Don't be afraid, let's go home. I got on the car home as I wished, but what was a little different from what I thought was that Shen Fuqin also followed me. How long has this been going on? After wrapping me up with a blanket, Shen Yichen sat next to me unasked and fairly. I pursed my lips and answered honestly, only today. But I was too embarrassed now, and the feeling I gave Shen Yichen just now was too pitiful, which simply reduced the credibility of this statement. When thinking of this possibility, Shen felt a little distressed, but more angry. Thinking of how his sister always looked scared when she saw him on weekdays, Shen Yichen suddenly felt that I would suffer such a thing today. In fact, there were signs a long time ago, but no one in their family cared. Did you resist? I trembled all over. What is coming will come. After weighing the pros and cons, I answered obediently. I beat them all up. When Shen Qiuchen heard this, the corners of his mouth rose slightly but soon disappeared, and he just said lightly, well done. The children of the Shen family don't bully others, but they can't be bullied by others. My eldest brother took me to buy clothes. I changed my clothes and came out. He walked in front of me, looked me up and down, and made comments. Just now my family called me and said that Shang Junyu's family came to apologize to you. They should still be waiting for you at home. When I heard Shang Junyu's name, I felt as expected. In my memory, I had conflicts with Shang Junyu, but every time the Shang family knew about it, they would bring Shang Junyu to apologize to me. As I grew up, my reputation of being domineering on Shang Junyu reasonable gradually spread. More importantly, when we were 14 years old, Shang Junyu and I had a quarrel. In order to punish Shang Junyu, the Shang family starved him for 5 days. It was not until I came to find him that I found out about it. The first thing Shang Junyu did when he woke up was not to thank me, but to say to me, it's all my fault that he is like this. Since that day, I have been atonement, but now I am very sober. My eldest sister said that Shang Junyu was a, and I have to quickly draw a line between myself and this kind of person. Brother, I don't want to see Shang Junyu again. Even though Shang Yichen didn't go home much before, he knew that I had been pursuing Shang Junyu. It was precisely because I really liked him that my parents would contact the Shang family. But now my attitude is very strange. Shang Ho Chen He Chen didn't ask directly. He would check things he wanted to know by himself. Do you believe in Big Brother? I didn't understand why Shnai Chen suddenly asked this, but I still responded, believe. Shen Hui Chen's mood was inexplicably better, and he said softly, when we get home later, don't say anything, don't have any expression, just stand by my side. I nodded. At this time, I didn't know that I was about to be portrayed by Shen Chen as a miserable autistic rich girl with mental illness due to school violence. Shang Junyu is the same. We have always taught him to protect Xu Yi at home, and he has always done well. It was only today that he did not go to school with Xu Yi. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen? Zuzi Hilyun took a sip of tea and did not answer. She just stretched out her hand to poke Shen Bin and asked him to reply. Shen Hong was also in a headache. He just called Shen Hui Chin and felt quite touched. He felt that they were wrong to do everything according to my wishes. As parents, they should have helped their children find the right path. Although there are 6 children in the Shen family, the first 5 are too smart. They have known the path they want to take since they were young. They have a straight path and there is no room for them as parents to intervene. Even in school and life, those 5 boys are always the first with countless younger brothers, and there is never anything they need to worry about. An accident like mine is the first time for the entire Shen family. Shen Bin is even a little nervous now. Should he drive the Shang family back now or continue to let the 2 children be like before? Should the resources given to the Shang family be reduced appropriately? Why not call the family to ask Mom's opinion? Shang Junyu apologized to Uncle Shen and answered quickly. When Zhuoyi comes back later, you have to apologize to Zhuoyi. Shang Junyu's mother suddenly slapped him on the head heavily. The sound scared Shang Hongbin. Shang Junyu was not very old, and he was so cruel. Wasn't it too much? It was the Shang family's own business, so Shang Ben couldn't intervene directly. He could only say polite words. This matter can't be blamed entirely on Junyu. It's also our fault. I didn't expect that such a famous school would be in such a situation. That's right, Brother Shell. In fact, a little princess like Shuo, it should be made to understand that she is different from an early age, so as to prevent some people with ill intentions from deliberately approaching. Shanpin was about to say something, but Sue's Ion held him back and changed the subject. Let them talk face to face when Zhuoyi comes back. We adults should not interfere. Shang He made the final decision, and the Shang family finally quieted down. So after lunch with the Shen family, people from various families started to bring their children to the door to report who the culprit was. But I hadn't come back yet, so Shen Hong and An Zuzi, our child Yan, could only... At first, when they listened to Uncle Zhang's report, they thought it was just a joke of the children, and the culprit was the teacher who didn't teach students to learn well and the principal who allowed the school's atmosphere and discipline to be disordered. Unexpectedly, as one child after another reported, the 2 found that things were completely different from what they thought. He was jealous that I could go to school and go home with Shang Junyu every day, so he secretly put laxatives in my lunch whenever he had the chance. This time, he made the most trouble. He said, I must teach Shangle's thing a lesson so that she will never dare to get close to Shang Junyu again. Su, say a child Yan's face darkened. She remembered that I did have a few days every month when I was pale and holding my stomach with a look of discomfort. I originally thought that it was just the child's puberty. Now I think there may be other reasons, and it is actually related to Shengzhen. Fortunately, I didn't let the Shang family come in just now. At this time, the guard notified that someone was coming to visit again, and it was also about me. Shen Tongpen then told them, anyone who is related to me can be let in directly. As more and more people came, the children shirked responsibility, which made Shen Bin and Zuzi Hilyun understand what kind of life I was living in school. Since Shen Bin retired to the second line, he has not been so angry for a long time. He never thought that the malice of children could reach this level. I don't want to hear what the children say. I just want to ask how you as parents teach your children. Listen to what your children said just now. Mr. Shen, the children are talking nonsense. The matter may not be. Now what? I think it's obvious that they were not taught well. Children are the mirror of their parents. Your children are hypocritical, cunning, greedy, mean, vulgar, and selfish. Which of these are not taught to them by you through words and deeds? People like you will be able to guess what kind of business they will do. Susie H. Yun stepped forward and patted Shenbin on the chest to calm him down and gave him an idea. Let's talk about it when the boss comes back. Shenbin nodded and was about to send these people back when he heard a childish voice. Who do you think you are? An old man with one foot in the ground and no job dares to say that to me. Mom and Dad, we are willing to come here to give you fates. Don't be shameless. Shenpin was stunned, and so was the child's parents. They hurriedly covered the child's mouth with cold sweat on their foreheads, mister. Shenhe, we didn't teach the child well. We will definitely teach him a lesson when we go back. But the words just now have resonated with people. Originally, these children came here just to show responsibility, but they didn't expect to be scolded. They immediately got angry. They were scolded by Shenbin just now, and they feel very uncomfortable. Their parents have never scolded them like this. Who is this old man in front of them? That's right. What right does he have to say that? Shenhui, because she is stupid. Shenbin took a deep breath and barely maintained his demeanor. I never get angry with children. You go. Send you out, Shenbin ordered, and the bodyguards rushed up and packed all the adults who were still arguing away. Of course, when arresting people, there was nothing they could do if they accidentally hit some children too hard. Who made them struggle? As soon as the surroundings became quiet, Zuzi H. Yan called Shen Yichen and asked him about my situation. She was waiting for the supersized cheese takoyaki with stars in my eyes and said calmly, she is in a very bad state. It is indeed in a bad state. When I passed by this takoyaki stall just now, I covered my chest with grief and said, if I can't eat this takoyaki, such as my appearance, my figure, my social etiquette, good morals, good character, and even my soul will be destroyed. Shen Yichen judged from this that my current state is indeed very bad. At a critical point of like crazy, but he doesn't hate it. Just now, many people came to the house and told you what happened to your sister today. My father and I also have a lot of things to say to you in person. Shen you to go home now? Okay, go back now. After hanging up the phone, Shen Yichen lowered his head and reminded me again, don't talk when you go back and don't have any expression. Wait for whoever gives you food. You should listen to him. This is the principle. I nodded vigorously. Xiao Huochang Yichen couldn't help but rub my head. He now thinks that having a sister is not bad. By the time I got home, I had changed from a happy eater to a gloomy and expressionless girl. Shenhuo straight to the reception hall. The three members of the Sheng family were still there, and my parents were also there. When they saw me, they all came to greet me. Susie H. Yan hugged me and started crying. Mom's baby, it's my fault that I didn't protect you well. Although Shenbin didn't hug me directly, he also looked very uncomfortable. Xiang Zhenyu also came over under the shoving of Shang's father and mother and bent down to say I'm sorry to me, who didn't have any expression. I didn't even blink. He came with him sorry. At this time, I really wanted to avoid Xiang Zhenyu, and I also wanted to comfort my mother, who was still crying, telling her that I was not her daughter and asked her not to be sad, but I promised Sheng Huichen Yi to speak, so I wouldn't speak. What's more, I had tried it when I remembered everything on the first day. It seems that I can't tell anyone about my identity. Whenever I want to say it, I will lose the ability to speak. After trying a few times, I gave up. Xiang Zhen, you didn't get my answer, so he didn't stand up and just kept bending over. It was only when Shenbin saw that Xiang Zhenyu's body began to tremble that he let him stand up first. You, what's wrong with you? Can you call Ma? Don't scare Ma. When I picked up my sister from school, she couldn't speak. I guess she was traumatized. Don't force her now. Hearing this, Zuzi H. Young cried even harder. Sheng Zhenyu's parents also realized the seriousness of the matter and the opportunity. They looked at each other, understood each other, and then stepped forward to push Sheng Zhenyu forward. Sister Zhu, in this situation, it's better not to stimulate Shuoi. My idea is, why don't we let Zhenyu try? Maybe she will be willing to talk. Their intentions were obvious, and they were calculating. They just wanted to use Sheng Zhenyu to completely bind the Shen family. If I recovered because of Sheng Yu, they could become the benefactors of the Shen family. Shen, who had been silent, finally spoke at this time. Are you Sham Junyu? Secretary Wang told me something just now. You would take all the money from Shang you every day when you went to school. When you bought lunch for Shenghe at noon, you would deliberately leave the food in the cafeteria and leave. Once someone talked about Xiaohong, you would not refute it and even give your little fan some hints. Explain these things. Hearing this, everyone present except me and Sheng Chen changed their faces. Shang Junyu did not answer immediately, but looked at me at the first time. But to Shang Junyu's surprise, I said nothing, and did not take all the blame on myself to excuse him like before, and even did not look at him at all. Shen Huoqing for a long time, and he could see Shang Junyu's mind almost at a glance, which made him more determined to kick the Sheng family away from the Shen family. He pulled me behind him, showing a protective attitude, and said to Shang Junyu bluntly, "Don't look at Shouhe. I'm masking you." At this time, Sheng's parents came up with a smile on their faces. They knew that Shen was now the person in charge of the Shen group. Young Master Shen Kwami, is there any misunderstanding? We know Junyu. Although he is not good at expressing himself, he really loves his sister Yu. Junyu, if there is any misunderstanding, explain it to your brother Shang Jim quickly. Shang Junyu subconsciously looked in my direction again, but I was blocked by Xinyi Chen and could not receive his eye hints at all. This was the first time Shang Junyu encountered such a dilemma since I depended on him. Seeing that he had not spoken, Shang Junyu's parents became anxious. Father Sheng slapped Shang Junyu in the face. "You beast, did you really do these things? It's a sin. How could I raise a child like you? Kneel down right now. I'll beat you to death." Shen Bin rubbed his forehead with a headache, raised his finger to stop Father Shang's action, walked in front of Shang Junyu, lowered his voice and said, "Shang Junyu, as a man, you must have the courage to do and take responsibility. I always think you are a good boy. That's why RUU is so close to you. Now, I'm only asking you once. Did you do these things?" Sheng Hui is a third person from a high position after all. Although he treats the younger generation at home in a kind and amiable manner on weekdays, once he gets serious, his aura is still fierce and suffocating. When has Sheng Zhen seen such a scene? But when he faced Shem He, he personally felt the fear from the depths of his soul. Subconsciously, he chose to escape. Xiao Hong asked me to do this. At this time, I was behind Shen Puxin Shen, and I opened my eyes wide in surprise. When did I ask him to do this? At this time, Shen Shen felt my movement and very cleverly put his hands behind his back and grabbed me firmly. I understood Shen watched the show obediently. As soon as Shang Junyu finished speaking, the living room was instantly silent. Susie Yan's crying stopped abruptly. She turned her head to look at Shang Junyu in disbelief, with tears still on her face, but her eyes were full of disappointment. Shen Pin's face suddenly sank, his eyebrows twisted into a deep groove, and his fingers unconsciously clenched the armrest of the sofa. Shen Hui, protecting me, was slightly tense, and I could feel the strength of his fingertips through his clothes. "Say it again." Shen's voice was as cold as if it was fished out of an ice cellar, and every word was chilling. Shang Junyu shrank his neck and rolled his Adam's apple at the sight, but he dared not repeat what he had just said. Shang's father's palm was suspended in the air. His face was blue and white. He wanted to slap his son, but suddenly retracted it when he touched his son's shivering shoulder and turned to Xinyi Chen to apologize with a smile. "Miss Shen, the child is young and his words are not serious." "Young?" Shen Huozhen pulled out a document from the inner pocket of his suit. "This is a backup of the school surveillance, recording all of Shang Junyu's words and deeds to Shen Yu in the past 3 months. Do you need me to play it frame by frame, so that everyone can see how the young child bullies others?" The smiles of Shang's parents froze on their faces instantly. Shang's mother staggered half a step, reached out to grab the document, but was stopped by the assistant. Shang Junyu's face was completely pale, his lips trembled, and big beads of cold sweat fell from his forehead. Zuzi Yan took the document trembling lie and just turned the pages before she covered her mouth and cried out. Sheng hosted her to take a look, then stood up suddenly with his chair making a harsh sound on the floor. "Is this how the Shang family teaches their children? Using my daughter as a shield?" He grabbed the teacup on the table and smashed it against the wall. Amid the sound of porcelain cracking, Shang Junyu fell to the ground in fear. "Uncle Shen, I was wrong." Zhang Junyu knelt on the ground and crawled towards me, trying to grab the corner of my clothes, but was kicked away by Shen Yichen. Shen Huichen squatted down, pinched Qing Zhivyu's chin with his fingertips, and forced him to look up. Do you know why Xingyu doesn't speak? Because you gave her the medicine for 3 months? Oh, no, it was you who instructed Hule to add laxatives to her food, causing her gastrointestinal bleeding and dysphagia. He let go of his hand, and Xiang Junyu collapsed on the ground and vomited. Zuzi Xiaoyang staggered over and hugged me, crying and shaking all over. My Yu. I'm sorry for you, sorry. I was strangled to a point of being unable to breathe, but I didn't dare to move. After all, I am now a psychological trauma patient. I have to maintain my persona. Seeing this, Shen gently pulled his mother away and held me in his arms. We have contacted the best doctor and will arrange for hospitalization and examination tomorrow. Shang's father suddenly rushed over and hugged Shen Yichen's legs. Mister Shen, please give us a chance. Shen, you really knows he is wrong. We are willing to compensate. Any amount is fine. Shen frowned and took 2 steps back. The assistant immediately stepped forward to drag Shang's father away. Shen Huichen took out a handkerchief from his pocket and wiped the upper of his shoes, his eyes cold. Compensation? The Shen family needs your money. He turned to Shen Bin. Dad, from today on, terminate all cooperation with the Shen family, including clearing all stocks of Shen. Shen Vonin nodded heavily, took out his mobile phone and called his secretary. Shang's mother screamed and rushed towards me. It's all your fault, you jinx. If it weren't for you pestering my son. Before she finished speaking, she was grabbed by the wrist by Shen Yichen's bodyguard and pressed against the wall. Shen Yichen took me and stepped back. His tone as calm as if he was talking about the weather. Aunt Shang remembered that the old lady of the Shang family just had a heart bypass surgery last month. Coincidentally, the surgeon is my friend. Why not let him pay a return visit? Shang's mother's face instantly turned pale and she collapsed to the ground. Get lost, Chen Chen said coldly. The 3 people of the Shang family were dragged out by the bodyguards, and the living room finally quieted down. Zuzi Xiaoyan held my face and gently stroked the corners of my eyes with her fingertips. You, don't be afraid. Mom will never let anyone hurt you again in the future. Her voice suddenly choked. Have you known Shang Junyu's thoughts for a long time? Why don't you tell Mom? I lowered my eyes and didn't speak, but I silently complained in my heart. I want to tell you, but I'm speechless every time I open my mouth. Shen Yichen gathered the blanket for me. The doctor said that I have selective aphasia after being stimulated, and it will get better slowly. He paused, his eyes darkened. I will live in the old house for the time being, and I will personally keep an eye on the investigation at the school. Late at night, I lay on the big bed in the old house, listening to the sound of rain outside the window in a daze. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from Shen Collection, delicious today. I looked at the screen and chuckled. I replied, the cheese is very long. The other party replied in seconds, let the kitchen make it tomorrow. I held the phone and shrank into the quilt. Suddenly, I felt warm in my chest. It turned out that the feeling of being protected by my brother was really like the cheese of takoyaki, soft and able to be pulled into long threads. As for Shang Junyu, let him slowly soak in the bitter wine he brewed. After all, the revenge of the fake daughter may be late, but the slap of the Shen family will never be absent. Tomorrow I have to accompany my parents to pick a new pet. I heard that the claws of Maine Coons are very sharp. I wonder if they are sharp enough to scratch the faces of the mother and son of the Shang family?